All right. Again, here to assist you with some questions you might have. If I look at number one there, it says Brian's science class records the daily low temperatures for the first week in December. You have a table. It says Monday, negative 2.1 degrees Celsius. Tuesday, 15.2 degrees Celsius. Wednesday, 5 degrees Celsius. Thursday, negative 4.6 degrees Celsius. Friday, 0 degrees Celsius. It says what was the average low temperature for the first week in December, and so we want to know the average. It does give you options. A is negative 2.7 degrees Celsius, B is 3.375 degrees Celsius, C 2.7 degrees Celsius, or D 13.5 degrees Celsius. Average, we have to do two operations. We have to add and then divide. So we have to first add and then divide. So what you can do, in fact, this is what I would do, is I would add up all my negatives, which is negative 2.1 and 4.6, and then I would add all my positives, which is 15.2, 5, and of course 0 is just 0. It doesn't, has no positive value, it's just 0. And so what I would do is combine my positives and combine my negatives, and so this would be what, 15.2 plus 5 is what, 20.2, okay? And my negatives would be 2.1 and 4.6, so 2.1 and 4.6, I would get 6.7. Of course, negative. Okay. Once you have that, then we're still adding, and so you're gonna have 20.2 plus. Of course, you would add to 0. I didn't forget to add 0, but it's because it's still the same thing, because 20.2 plus 0 is just 20.2. 20.2 plus negative 6.7. Okay. You're gonna do this, and remember, same sign add, different sign subtract. So remember that, same sign add, different sign subtract. In case you don't know where I got 20.2, all I did was add 15.2. I lined up the decimals. Of course, 5 does not belong here. It belongs here because it's a whole number. And that's how I got 20.2. Same sign add, different sign subtract, different sign, so you subtract them. Your answer, that's what you're going to divide. You're going to divide by what? Well, how many days you had? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So solve this and then divide by 5. And I'm going to go to number 2. Okay, number 2 there. Lian, Ramon, Montel, and Emily bought a gift for their soccer coach. The total cost of the gift, including tax, was $55.80. Montel paid $14. Ramon paid 1/3 of the cost. Emily paid 25% of the cost, and Lane paid the remaining cost. Who paid the greatest part of the cost? Was it Lane, Ramon, Montel, or Emily? And we know what Montel paid, so I'll put here Montel. He paid $14. Okay, that's what he paid. And so we got to find out what Ramon paid. He paid 1/3. 1/3 of means multiply. 1/3 times the cost. So I'm going to put here on this. I'm going to do this on a separate sheet of paper. So then 1/3 times the cost. So we're going to put there 1/3 times $55.80. Okay. We can put a 1 at the bottom so we can multiply across. 55.80 divided by 3, because 3 times 1 is 3, and so now we divide 55.80 divided by 3. How many 3's in 55? Do it, black pen. 3 goes into 5 once. It's 2. Bring the 5 down. 3 goes into 25 8 times. So 3 times 8 is 24. 5 minus 4 being the 8 down, and 3 goes into 16. I'm sorry, 3 goes into 18 6 times, which gives me 18, which is 0. So, no, I said Ramon paid 1860. So I'm going to put there, okay, Ramon pays 1860. Well, if I'm looking for the greatest, who paid the greatest part, we can tell right away, Montel, it's not going to be the answer. Ramon is the one, you know, he paid a little more. And then it says Emily paid 25% of the cost. Well, the word of means multiply. 25%, we convert that to a decimal, we move it 2 times, and so we have 55.80 or 0.8 times 0.25. And we'll find out how much Emily paid. So 8 times 5 is 40. 5 times 5 is 25 plus 4 is 29. 5 times 5 plus 2 is 27. Put a 0 there. 8 times 2 is 16. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11. 2 times 5 plus 10 is 1, and plus 1 is 11. And so we get 0, 5. We carry the 1. It's 9. That's, make sure I did 1, 3, 9, 5, 6, 5. Yes, okay, it's right. So how many numbers to write a decimal? And so we look there, we have 1, 2, 3. And so we're going to move the decimal place 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And so that means that Emily paid $13.95. So I'm going to put here Emily $13.95. Well, I can see that Ramon is still the one in the lead. And so let's see how much the link paid. Well, if I know Ramon, he paid $18.60. If Montel paid $14 and Emily paid $13.95, I can add these to find out how much Lane paid, because if I get the total from here and then subtract from the cost, I can find out what she paid, because it says Lane paid the remaining cost, and I know what remaining means, subtract. And so we're going to add this two together. We get 5, 9 plus 15, 8, 9 plus 4 is 13, 16, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4650, the combination of all 3 of them. And so we're going to subtract 5580 minus 46.55, and we're going to find out what Lane paid. Of course, we have to regroup. So we get a 2 there. Okay, oh, he goes to 15, he goes to 4. And so we get, she paid what, $9.25. Okay, and so that means that she paid $9.25. We can see that Ramon paid the most. Okay, we look at the next one there. A submarine dives to a depth of 54.6 meters below the surface of the water in 4 minutes. What integer represents the constant rate the submarine travels per minute? Okay, so you want the rate per minute. Okay, so he travels per minute. So when you want it per minute, the word per, if I highlight the word per, okay, we have a few operations, but usually means multiply or divide. Okay, so multiply or divide. Okay, okay, multiply or divide. Okay, so multiply or divide. And so now he traveled, how far did he travel? He traveled 54.6 meters, okay, below the surface. So obviously this is 54.6 meters. If it's below the surface, this is actually a negative number. And how long did it take him to get there? Well, it took him 4 minutes. What they want to know is how much did he do per minute? That's the question. So how much did he do per minute? That's what they want you to find. And when they want the rate of 1 or the price of 1 or whatever, anything of 1 unit, you divide. So that's what you got to do, is divide and get the answer. Let's look at the, well, let me see. Okay, let's do this one. Number 5. Sorry, number 5. I'll skip number 4 for now. Number 5. Okay, we're gonna solve this like the other problem. Like I said, it says which of the following expressions has a solution of -2. So we're looking for the ones that have -2. Not a lot of wording, but it's one of the longest ones. Okay, so let's do the first one there, A. And so we do -2 2/5 times 3. Okay, I'm going to leave them as fractions, not decimals, because at the end it's actually easier to leave them like in fractions. So we're going to do around the world here. And so we get 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12, -12/5 times 3. We put a 1 at the bottom. We multiply across, we get -36/5. And so now we're going to divide by this. So we're going to put divided by 3 3/5. And so now we're going to put -36/5 divided by, now let's convert this around, let's convert it to a fraction. And so this would be 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3, 18/5. Okay. And now we can use our strategy of KCF, keep, change, flip. So this would be -36/5 times, we flip this one, we'll do the reciprocal, 5/18. And now I can see here, across, I can simplify that real quick. 5 goes into 5 once, and 5 goes into 5 once. And so now it's simplified even better. And so -36 times 1 over 1 times 18, which gives me -36/18. And obviously that's going to give me 2, because 18 goes into 36 twice. And then to use the Riemann rules, negative divided by positive is negative. And so Roman numeral 1 gave me -2. That's what Roman numeral 1 gave me, -2. And so we try, this is -2 there. And so let's try the next one there. Okay. And so we got to use, we got to use the PEMDAS rules. Okay. Don't forget PEMDAS rules. So first, let's just do the 28 alone, plus, and then we're going to put -2.4 divided by 0.08, and so 28 plus. Now let's put it this way: -2.4 divided by 0.08. That we can use. You can see how it's just TIBO. Okay, top and bottom out. So 28 plus, and we're going to put TIBO, top and bottom out. So 0.08. We're going to try to see how many times it fits in there. You cannot have decimals in the divisor. So let's move it to the front. 1, 2. And so we move this to 1, 2. And so the decimals there. And so now we have how many 8 and 24? Obviously 8 times 3 is 24. 0, and bring the 0 down. 8 into 0 is 0, so it's 30. But don't forget, it was a negative divided by a positive, and so the Riemann rule says that the answer should be negative. And so now I have 28 plus -30. Okay, 28 plus -30. Well, same sign add, different sign subtract. So we subtract 30 minus 28 is 2. Whose greater absolute value? Well, -30 is further away from 0, so that means we keep his sign, and that's also -2. And so we have 2 of them that are the same. Okay, now we look at choices. If we have that has 1, 2, 3, and I do right here, so that means I got to check 3, because it could be the answer. So let's look at 3 now. Again, 2 1/4. 7/3 plus, let's change this, let's do around the world here. Okay, so 9 times 1, 9 plus 4, so 13/9, and that's negative. Okay, And so now we're gonna do our butterfly. So we're gonna multiply these two. 9 times 7 is 63, and then 3 times 13 is 39. Okay. And then we're gonna multiply 3 times 9 is 27, and so we get, I'll put it here, 63 plus negative 39, because the negative goes to the top number, so it's 3 times negative 13, which is negative 39, over 27. And so 63, same sign add, different sign subtract, so we have 63 minus 39. Okay, we regroup. This gives me 24. So we're going to put, okay, and it's positive because the 63 is further away from 0. And so we're going to put 24 over 27. Okay, we can simplify that by 3, and that gives me 8 over 9. And so now 8 over 9, we're going to multiply it to the 2 1/4. And so let's convert, let's do around the world here. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1, so we have 9 over 4. Okay, and so now we're going to multiply this. Okay, now parentheses in multiplication. I can see right there, I can simplify right away. Right there on both, right there I can say 9 goes into 9 once, 9 goes into 9 once. Okay, and so what I have left is 1 times 8 and 4 times 1, which is 8 over 4, which is just 2. And so this is actually giving positive 2. And so I can see right away that, you know, I can see, should be able to see the answer. Okay, hopefully you can get the other ones done. All right, good luck. Adios.